Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you have the opportunity to join me. I'm Dr. Jan. This is Russell Institute of Learning Sidebar Education, and we're picking up where we left off to give you an understanding of the tenets, the foundation of Russell Institute of Learning, and my education philosophy. We said we were going to pick up beyond the 3 areas of concern surrounding standardized testing for some students. Well, if you haven't heard that episode yet, you can always go back and find it. But those 3 areas include 1, student attitude. You cannot force a student to do well on a test, no matter how smart they may be, if they choose not to do well. They just aren't interested. The second is linguistics. Depending on a student's background, their upbringing, their ethnicity, whatever it may be, their linguistics may cause them difficulty in understanding, 1, the words specifically in a test, the concepts in a test, or just an understanding of the words at large. And third is dealing with test bias. Even though they are normed, they are not normed with a large percentage of minority students, lower income, whatever might not be in the mainstream middle class. And as I said, I was making every effort. This is not about trying to put ourselves into 2 camps and fighting over who is privileged or not privileged. Let's talk about the children that just need education and what is it that we can do to make the education meet them where they are, know the standards where we're wanting them to be, and giving the parents the option and the right to educate their children in a manner that supports and magnifies not only the learning but the morals that are within their family and community. So we're going to start beyond those 3, and we're going to look at the high stakes associated with student achievement scores have generated the manipulation of numbers to inflate the success of student achievement on standardized testing and graduation rates. And there are the resources that are provided that show leading to the formation of organizations like the National Center for Fair and Open Testing. Schools are able to manipulate the numbers by assigning students to various categories that may be excluded from the reported figures. Now, I have seen this firsthand. Not that it was really trying to make anything illegal or not, but you are always looking for those that could be excluded, who you knew their scores weren't going to be at their best, and you could know. And so I'm going to keep reading, and that's even on the mild side, where then there are other reported in past. I can't say what's happened in the last 2 to 3 years, because unfortunately that's not been the focus of everyone's attention. But they were finding that there were people, teachers, educators, administrators who were changing student responses before they were submitted so that the scores would look better. But that's not what we're talking about. Right now, we're looking at statistics, demographics, where you could then see a segment of population that meets a certain criteria that, they can be eliminated. So let's go to such as transient students whose test scores are typically lower because of lower attendance rates can be excluded if their attendance exceeds a specific number of absences. Students who drop out of school before senior year graduation are not counted in the reported number of seniors, therefore inflating the graduation rate. Graduation rates do not include the number of students retained and not completing high school in a 4-year period. Serious allegations of these types of fraudulent reporting methods have occurred across America. And again, references are given for additional information. Progressive education, an alternative to standardized education methods, takes into account student developmental variances and taps into the fascination of learning to motivate students. This type of education reduces the need to manipulate data because student assessment is not dependent upon grades. This is important. Most often, student achievement is demonstrated through projects or portfolios demonstrating the mastery of an integration of concepts across all subjects. And that's how we work in life. And so I really am a strong proponent of moving away from such standardized tests at specific times within a student's education, because a child may not be ready for that test, and whereas they get another 6 months to a year, and oh my goodness, they could breeze through. But because they weren't ready at the date and time that it was specified for their grade level, they are then dinged as deficient. Progressive education works hard not to categorize students into a standardized reporting category. So we're going to do a little bit of conversation here. I want to set you up for where we're going to come back tomorrow. And I think what's so nice is I find it so exciting to go back and reread what I wrote, because I believe it. It's in me. But sometimes we have to reread what we already know to remind ourselves, oh yes, that's why I do this. Oh yes, to be passionate about what we do. Pedagogical turn on progressive child education. The pedagogical progressive movement, influenced during the early 1900s by John Dewey, Francis Parker, and others, continues today. The principles of child-centered learning, integration with the community, and democratic decision-making within schools espoused by these leaders is the progressive framework that I used in my study. And those are the 3 areas that I then researched about child-centered learning. Where is that? What does it look like? Integration in the community. How does that impact the child learning? And the democratic decision-making. When we come back the next time, I'm going to talk about the pedagogical creed that John Dewey espoused into 5 distinct categories. I'm Dr. Jan. This is Russell Institute of Learning Sidebar Education. I ask that you like, follow, comment, and share. And again, comment. Comment about education. Comment about your thoughts of where we are in this journey in redesigning, working at renewing education so that our children will be able to meet and exceed any type of expectations of the future, because they are creative thinkers, they are able to work outside of the box, and they are able to use their skills in collaboration with those around them. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.